Please, man. I just need you to work. Fuck. I want to thank my friends, my family, first and foremost, for this wonderful award. Today, it works! Hello and welcome. My excitement is immeasurable. 300 rounds later after this range day, we are back again with the Auto Ordnance Thompson M1 SBR. If you don't know me, my name is Joe, and this is video number 9, I think, in the Thompson saga. 300 rounds through this gun today, and it was about 99% there. It was essentially flawless. We're going to talk about what I did, how, and also how I kind of missed something major in the last video as to why this gun was not working. And I know many of you were longing for the day for this to finally happen. That is correct, my friends. 300 rounds went through this gun today. Nothing catastrophic happened. The gun did not fall apart, and that was with the kinetic blowback trigger, which for the YouTube reviewer, this is a fully semi-automatic trigger. It's just you're pulling it really fast. So it is resetting every time, and oh man, is it a fast semi-automatic trigger. The last video, this gun really was not doing well. I sheared my extractor off right out the gate. It was essentially like the second magazine, and from what me and Dallin over there at Kinetic, first thing that he said is there may have been a little bit of movement in your extractor, which essentially causes some play, which normally in a semi-automatic only, not super fast semi-automatic, in a Thompson, you would want that extra additional play. But in this case, you don't want it. I ordered a bunch of GI extractors. So that was the first thing I did, was get 2 or 3 GI extractors. I pulled the old extractor out of the bolt, which I can show you here on this new bolt from Auto Ordnance. You have this pin over here on the side. You got to nail out the pin, and in my case, it was sheared in half right at the pin, so it all just kind of fell out. I put the new extractor in. This is what worked for me. This is the first thing that helped. I essentially did no fitting at the top. It just was, I almost had to hammer it in. There was no movement, side to side wobble at all. And then you have to essentially cut underneath here on the GI extractors so this pin can go through, and that I just used a rat tail file and got it as close as I could, and then finally was able to send the pin home. You're going to want to do the take a little bit off, check. Take a little bit off, check, because it's just a long and tedious process, but it is unbelievably important that this extractor is tight. I would strongly advise to send it out to Dan Block, and he's going to change your bolt to only be able to accept GI extractors. Typically is how it's done. Now, I don't know that that's 100% the case. I can't remember if there is somehow a way to make a GI extractor work in the semi-auto bolts. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. There was something that I noticed prior to going to this range day, which was that I missed something major. Inside the bolt, in this old bolt, is a standard firing pin channel. In the last video, I had the old bolt and the new bolt with me at the range. This is the new bolt here. Auto Ordnance said they had changed a few things. I went over that a few videos ago. When that extractor sheared, I thought, okay, I can get this new bolt into the gun and at least give that a shot and see if that works with it. They changed the bolt, I'll call it the bolt extension here, the extractor, and they also changed the firing pin. Now, by changing the firing pin, I was told that they made it a little bit more rigid, strong, all of those things. So I thought, awesome. This is where I'm going to look like an idiot, but I don't hold any blows like that on this channel of me looking like an idiot. So I'm going to tell you, I did not take notice. As you can see, the gaping hole on the front of the bolt face here, where the new design firing pin protrudes through. So what I did the last range day, I took the kinetic crossfire blowback trigger firing pin, dropped it into the new bolt, not thinking twice at all. And mind you, it was not running prior to me doing that. The extractor still sheared, the spring weight was all off. It was not working prior to that. But the reason why it continued to not work, probably tenfold, was the fact that I had realized that the kinetic crossfire firing pin absolutely will not work with this new bolt, which was why I was just not reliable whatsoever. Every few rounds just would not work. So I have now confirmed that the kinetic crossfire kit essentially will not work with the new design bolt. What I have not figured out yet is if the new bolt with their firing pin will work with the kinetic crossfire trigger system itself. I will figure this out in a future range day, but I wanted to just alleviate any possible concerns because this bolt was not gone over by Dan Block and polished and fitted to the gun as the original bolt was. So I went back to the basics with the old bolt. Something else that I did that I talked again with Dallin at Kinetic Crossfire, he recommended that I switch to factory springs for this setup to see how that worked. Now, as we talked about in the last video, there are 3 springs with the M1 Thompson. You have all 3 of those holes on the rear of the bolt, and you have 2 recoil springs, so those go within the bolt on the bottom there, and then 1 firing pin spring, and then there is essentially a hammer, if you will, but it's just a small cylinder piece of metal that's going to be actually striking the firing pin. With these new factory springs, this thing at the range ran like a bat out of hell, man. Like a bat out of hell. I do have a new sear block because Dallin has told me that his test M1 SBR has been through 3,000 rounds and a total of 3 sear block replacements. So it does appear like these sear blocks with the new and improved firing pin that is harder metal is wearing on the sear block. So you're going to have to keep that in mind, and I'm going to be flat out honest with you guys, okay? I know a lot of you are chomping at the bit right now to harvest the lima bean crop for the gun, for the blowback trigger, for all of it. You're like, I'm putting in your lima bean harvesting information, but I want you to stop right now, okay? Listen to me real quick. Remember, this is video number 9, my guy. Video number 9. So this is not a plug and play, slap it together, and it's going to run. And it's also not an easy to figure out how to fix type of gun, okay? It is very, very, very tedious, very difficult, very frustrating. But I swear to you, I heard eagles screeching every single time I pulled the trigger at the range today, and I finally, like, I'm joking here, but I almost felt like I could cry, okay? And I will say as well, the accuracy of this gun, even at 10 yards, very fast semi-automatic fire, still holding them in the A zone on the target that you guys are seeing, and like it was a pretty banging gun. It was a pretty banging range day. Not gonna lie to you. Now I did have gloves on for a majority of the shooting today, and you may see me kind of like pull my hand out of the trigger guard because your reset is forcing your finger forward. I did find that actually my glove kind of got like caught underneath the trigger, not painfully or anything like that, but that was why I was pulling my hand away. There's not necessarily trigger slap, but there's like a perfect amount of space under here that if you do have gloves on, they might get caught, so you may consider non-gloved firing hands. Had a nasty slip in the beginning that was not pre-recorded or planned. It's just when this thing is all slicked up, you can see why they would have an extended bolt handle, but this is still held up just fine as far as all of the falls and tumbles and things that it's taken. The forend still gets a little loose, but nowhere near as loose as the factory Auto Ordnance forend used to get. I am now into it probably roughly like 3,500 beans, lima beans, or 4,000 lima beans. Just with the troubleshooting, with the sending it out, gunsmith work, springs, ammo, all the stuff. Okay, now I said 99% in this range day because I did have 3 or 4 maybe failures to feed. Now I'm not counting those failures to feed as malfunctions to the system. Why? Because all of these happened with 100-year-old magazines that I fitted. These are well known for being so unbelievably finicky with how you fit them. I did insert them in. The feed lips are not bent. They look proper as the other ones, like the one that was perfectly fitted by Mr. Dan Block. They all look the part, but you may experience some failure to feed issues. Now, if I would have gotten failures to eject, failures to extract, messed up cases, all sorts of problems, double feeds, triple feeds, then I would be saying something differently. But those were all the exact same malfunction. And when I swapped out those magazines and got them out of the picture using the factory Auto Ordnance magazine and then also the surplus mag that was fitted by Dan Block, and then like 2 other random surplus mags that surprisingly worked, I never had another issue throughout the day. Did a lot of hip firing, okay? A lot of get the anger out. You know what I mean? A lot of like just let it roll, and that felt very good in this particular range day after so many behind this gun and having it not work. Now, many of you are still screaming at the screen, Joe, your cyclic rate in super fast semi-automatic is way, way faster than an open bolt Thompson. And I will agree, and in talking with Kinetic Crossfire, there is essentially no way to mitigate this. The way that this gun is designed from the closed bolt means that there's not going to be a way, regardless of your springs. You can tune it to get it to run reliably, obviously, as I have done throughout this whole series. However, there's not really something that you're going to do yet to take back that rate of fire. A rebirth, if you will, of the first major problem of the Thompson subgun, which is the fact that it started its life with crazy high rates of fire that were beating the gun to death. And then they went to a super complicated to design, like cool-looking gold falling block locking mechanism on the bolt, which did help. And then finally they switched to open bolt, which of course we cannot do here in the United States. Circling all the way back around, I believe it's called like the Blish device or something. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but now, speaking to Kinetic Crossfire, it may be time to reintroduce the old, complicated, expensive to manufacture and machine locking mechanism on the bolt to help slow the rate of fire. Now, is the rate of fire a problem? No, it was actually very pleasant to shoot, even with that rate of fire. But man, does it send those semi-automatic rounds downrange very quickly. And because of the length of pull, I did notice that consistently shooting from the hip, you can even get some accurate shots on targets, surprisingly. But also, it's a more like comfortable feeling, so I can see why maybe not GIs in World War II, but why movies kind of portrayed that. Just from the actors in particular, it would be far easier to hold the gun like that if you are not familiar with it. Mind you, again, this is 300 rounds. I'm not going to stop the whole test here. I am going to keep shooting it, but I will mention that I was not like torture testing the shit out of this gun today. I was just happy it worked. So There were maybe like at 150 rounds, I let the gun sit 10, 15 minutes, let it cool a little bit, like all things like that. I was trying to be as nice to the gun as humanly possible. It was cleaned. It was lubricated before the range. Like, this is not the gun that's going to go through the next mud test, okay? It is not that. But I am just happy that it's actually working as designed. And I think after this, there's probably going to be a lot of folks interested, but again, remember, video number 9. If you stayed until now and you have no clue what I'm talking about past videos, don't worry about the sidebar. I got it right here. Whole season of the Thompson and episodes. You click that, it's going to start you all the way back at the beginning with a different, younger me, and then travel you all the way through. We might be vibing a little bit, as the kids say. So the subscribe button is over here. You know what to do. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.